growth plans. How many of you have individual growth, teachers do individual growth plans for professional development? For, I thought they knew something like that in the past.
For their evaluations?
Yeah. You do something like that?
No, I'm going to ask a clarifying question. So professional growth plan, that would be like me saying that this is where I'm at with my current evaluation, and this with my information from my walkthroughs. This is where I'd like to go, and this is my plan to get there. Is that what you're talking
Well,
about?
I'm talking about teachers having individual growth plans. In other words, they look at their students or at their class or maybe at their past evaluations or whatever, and they put together goals that they want to accomplish for professional growth,
Oh,
for their own personal professional growth. They might say, I want to participate in a PLC at the school site, focused on whatever. Or I'd like to take a college class in this, or I'd like to do online webinars offered by OPI informative assessment, or I'd like to do, and a lot of this could be part of your discussion with them during evaluation, and especially teachers that are good, solid teachers, that are looking to move themselves forward in, building their own skills as teachers. And then, of course, there are those that are deficit, where you really have to help them formulate a plan to improve. Anything like that going?
We were doing the SOPAs, and that had that piece in it.
It did, didn't it? Yeah.
That was really nice. I think a lot of the teachers really liked that piece.
Because it made you think about,
What do I need to focus on? Because they have to go into it with that frame of mind. Okay, I know there's going to be something I'm going to need some professional development on, and so they have to find.
very often teachers will just say, I'm interested in this. I'd like to know more about, or my technology business, or my smart board, or whatever, they have particular things that they're interested in. Anybody else have something?
No, but I have another question.
Go ahead.
Are we going to talk about suspensions, expulsions? I heard a question about that.
Oh, we could, sure. Okay. Do any of you collect data or do any evaluation on professional development that you offer? How do you do that?
As far as collecting the data?
In other words, how do you know it works?
Well, because it's more relevant, I think, to our staff and what we're trying to do. And we provide it's teachers or our own staff providing the professional development. So I think that actually leads a little bit more credibility to that in-service,
And
that professional.
And how do you know that there's an outcome to what that offering was?
Yeah, good question. All of the professional development is part of the evaluation system. I think that's where you're going with this, right? So like if we go through a walkthrough, how we do our evaluation system, first of all, I don't even like calling it that, because it's really a teacher improvement system.
Professional growth.
Yeah, I've told them, like, if you're in a situation where you're in trouble as a teacher, you're gonna know. I mean, so really this teacher improvement system is about us getting better. You all have a job right now. I'm not trying to get rid of any of you, okay? I have a hard enough time getting enough teachers in here. So I'm teaching you guys till the day I'm gone, okay? I mean, you guys are here. So, I mean, everybody I think is having problems getting qualified teachers. So the last thing you want to do is do, right? So if anything, you just want to make them better. Well, maybe, yeah, okay. There's probably some that you want to get rid of.
Sounds like you could offer a training.
Yeah, there's some you might want to get rid of, but.
Well, not necessarily, but, sorry to interrupt, in our boards on the reservation, no offense, this one, look cross-eyed at my son, so I'm not going to vote for him this year. We've lost a couple of good teachers because of personality conflicts between boards, from the board to a parent to a kid. And so when you do that training, that would be a good one to kind of, to focus on is that we're having a hard enough time getting teachers, and then to have them not go with our recommendation and, you know, not renew 9 teachers, and then not have a math teacher at all in the high school. So there's gotta be,
Okay, so back to.
Sorry.
No, but.
No, that's,
excellent point.
yeah.
no offense.
Very
Yeah. So all your professional development and what we call them non-negotiables. So these are things that these are strategies that we should consistently see in your classroom. And those are all part of your walkthroughs and your evaluation system. So, and as soon as you do your walkthrough, you get a thing back to the teacher. And, you know, I didn't see your objective on the board. There was no exit ticket today. There was no bell ringer. There was no scaffolding of this lesson. You know, those, that kind of thing. And the whole idea is, how do we get better? 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 So, and a lot of those things you can't do every day, all the time. You just can't as a teacher. But if you can do a little bit more, a little bit more, a little bit more each day, then that's what we're looking for.
And I like what you said with non-negotiables. I think that needs to be part of our talk with the teachers. There are certain things that we should see every time we go into a classroom. Those are those non-negotiables.
Yeah.
And I think that's a key thing for teaching and instruction and all that kind of stuff. So I think that's a
Well,
great.
that's kind of what I was talking about when I said if you're going to do professional development, maybe they don't know how to do those things, like setting lesson objectives.
Objective,
Or
right.
putting them up there for kids, or, the weekend, I can statements.
I think you
whatever.
have to tie it all in together.
Exactly.
Right.
And then your walkthrough gives you the data to say, hey, yeah, it's happening, not happening. When you use your walkthrough data, do any of you aggregate it so that you see, for example, do you look for certain things like your staff is focusing, or you are as effective focusing on a certain area like questioning or whatever? And then do you collect data on what you see? Do any of you do that?
How was that?
Use McCrell.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah,
Exactly. You do. What are some of the things that you focused on?
Oh, it's like setting objectives and
Okay.
students engaged to.
And you've had sessions with teachers to talk about those
When you
expectations.
automatically emails exactly what you put down in front of them.
But you've done some training with them to say these are what they look like.
That's
This is
good.
what, right, okay.
Is there a connection to that conversation and to their actual evaluation, or are those separate?
And that's not an evaluation, so
Yeah,
I'll take the whole lesson to the.
right, right.
See, that's the other thing they've actually commented on. You're already in the classroom more than but they like that.
Mhm.
One of the things is, you know how kids are. When you walk into the classroom, all of a sudden, then all of a sudden they start behaving. They don't screw up. And actually, like when I go and evaluate, I don't even look at the teacher. I go and sit with the kid.
You're supposed to ask a kid. what
Yeah. Just go sit with the kid.
Tell me about this.
Yeah. Go sit with that group or go sit with that.
My question is, you as a superintendent, are you in charge of evaluation?
Yeah, I evaluate 12 teachers.
You see, like myself.
Plus my
Office staff
My
and-
Well,
office
I'm-
staff plus
I'm talking about
transportation.
teaching.
Yeah.
So your principals don't?
No, they do.
They do it as
I
well.
wouldn't be allowed
We
to
do
do
that,
that.
yeah.
Superintendent.
You will
You
say that
what?
again?
Papa, I wouldn't be allowed to do that.
Really?
Principals. Oh, yeah, because I'm not the.
Evaluate, you're not their supervisor.
Right.
I evaluate, how we do it is I evaluate every K-12 staff
Teacher,
teacher. So we have some teachers that teach across the board. So my Cree teacher is K-12. My art teacher is K-12.
Music.
My music teacher is K-12.
So how many principals do you have?
2.
Is that part of the collective bargaining agreement that you do?
It's not.
That
Yeah.
hasn't been an issue?
No.
Okay.
Not that I know of. Yeah. I mean, this is my first year.
Not yet.
Yeah, not yet. Yeah.
Go ahead.
From a superintendent standpoint, or a principal, or a school board member standpoint, I go through the schools frequently. But as a superintendent, one of the things that I used to go with my principals on walkthroughs.
Right.
And I remember distinctly in one case, because I didn't know, I was new, I didn't know the people, but when we came to the door before we went in, the principal turned to me and said, here's what we're going to be seeing in this classroom. When we went in the classroom, that's what was going on in that classroom. And I said to myself, I got a principal.
Yeah.
She knew what was going on in her building.
Yep, exactly.
Do as superintendents, do you go through walkthroughs with your principals periodically? You're not evaluating, you're working, you're evaluating your principal in that process, observing your principal, if you will.
Right.
But I've always found that was, if you walk in there on a walkthrough and your principal doesn't know what's going on in the classroom when you walk through the door, you got a problem.
And then on the other
Not
hand,
necessarily in the classroom.
then on the other hand, how open are you guys for us to go along with you as coaches into those classrooms? And then have a conversation with you afterward of what you saw and what we saw, and then, you know, learn from that process too. Because I think if you look at the coaches that you have, I think I've done probably about 3,000, maybe more evaluations in my 35 years. Yeah, so I mean, so you have some relevant resources for you.
Well, you have other eyes too, and sometimes
Sometimes it is, yes.
helpful to just discuss what you, yeah.
But are you open to that? That's a question.
Great.
I think kids get used to having other people in their class. Pretty, you know.
Doesn't interrupt.
Yeah, they're like whatever.
Well, you know, if the principal's been in there, if they just keep working.
Yeah.
If they
It's not
turn
a
around and go,
distraction.
hi, then you know that they haven't been in there.
Exactly. So what's happening in Fraser with you guys? Do you do walkthroughs?
I've been utilizing the iWalkthrough tool that Ryan Oswald kind of introduced us to last year. He was our coach, or we just been coach. I like it, but I just wish that the actual, like the initial template of the iWalkthrough had more options on there. It makes it so that the notes part of it is the most important piece, and that's really what it's about, is the feedback. And then so kind of knowing what you're looking for. Right now, I've just kind of just started, so I'm just kind of going through, and all I'm looking for is something positive. What can I write on that's positive? And then we'll start looking at the objectives on the board, you know, different things. How is management, the question, you know, what type of instruction is taking place?
Yeah, I don't think it can be changed. I think it just comes vague. You get the.
No,
I think you can adapt.
You can
Because we were looking at that, and we can't find a place where we can change it to what we want to observe. That's what we were.
We're kind of waiting for our new coach
And I
to kind of
know-
come through. And
Yeah, I know we used it quite a few years ago, and you used to be able to go in and you could change the
Right.
categories that you were looking for. But the one we got.
There were
there,
certain ones that stayed, but you could add additional.
Okay.
We started working on that last year, Brian and I, and we thought we had it, and so I think there is a way, but we just couldn't quite, we pressed the wrong button and then we lost it.
yeah, I can tell you that these are a lot more stable environment to do those on. I love it. It's quick. I just take my keyboard, I attach afterwards, type everything up, have it done within 5 minutes.
So do you have conversations then with the walkthrough information with your grade level teams or whole staff? Or
I haven't yet. Last week was actually the first time that I got it kind of
We're
all
still gathering.
up and rolling.
But that's what you do, right? Okay. Is that a
Well,
value thing?
Now, do you use
Is that a
iWalkthrough?
value? He uses McCraw.
It's similar. It's
Similar.
An inch of that of the.
Does iWalkthrough, this is one thing I have.
Teachers.
Sorry.
That's-
Now, on the iWalkthrough, does it email the staff when they receive?
My walker does. You
Okay.
know, crowd.
No, what's this?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wasn't sure because I was doing all these things and I had to get a response back from the teacher.
So you just send it to them, you don't have a post sit
No,
down?
I do it. I do
You
submit.
send it right then?
Yeah, I do my walkthrough, then I submit my notes.
Well,
Place you have to send the email to them, and it sends it right to them. But it should, as soon as you submit your note, it should go.
That's what I thought.
I think it
Because
also.
it's to it, it's attached to that day's evaluation.
Get back, you probably have a bunch of tomatoes.
Yeah.
But I guess I want to just go back to the point when you said not yet about your data. I guess the question is there a value once you've looked holistically at where your staff's strengths and weaknesses are, what engagement, as staff been able to be involved in to say, we really see that maybe we're not as skilled as we need to be. It's not an individual analysis per se, but that as a faculty, maybe we need more PD on questioning strategies.
Well, here's the follow-up to that. And when Joe and I were compiling down for EPAS and SIG, we would look holistically across all the evaluations to see what the needs were, based on the evaluation and the walkthroughs and the data we had. We would look and compile the needs and get those to the leadership. And it is the school board's responsibility to approve an annual PD schedule. So while you can't, as board members, see individual pieces of data that come out of evaluation, you can see a holistic list of things that could be utilized in professional development, and the superintendent prepares that plan and gives it to you. That's a piece of data that you'll know it is good data. We are in fact providing professional development in areas that it looks like our staff needs.
And our PIR focus will be for the.
Yeah, classroom management, well, on all of our young teachers was an issue, and so now we're going to have strategies in classroom management, for example, or whatever. But and that completes the circle of the leaders who utilize and gather the data and can give it to school boards in meaningful ways.
So I don't have Wi-Fi, so I have to go the old-fashioned way. But so we did went through the, I just had a staff meeting and said, 4 out of 6 of the elementary teachers have their objective and it matches their instruction, and it's up. 2 are kind of iffy, and then 3 out of 10 of the high school electives are, and so it kind of gave them an aha that they needed to do it, and I gave that same thing to the board and told them now, then we had training on what the objective was and why we needed to have a criteria, why we needed to have it up. But we had the professional development first, then observed it, then talked about it again, so that they knew that it was being, we were looking at it, but they also have to have, like you said, they have to have their beginning, they have to have their engagement and their closure and their objective matching their instruction.
And I love that you say that their objective matches instruction in the same breath, not that they just have an objective on the board, they could have been there for March 13th.
Okay, right, really?
We've all seen that, right? Do we have one? Yeah, I always keep that one right there.
You should walk by.
So I'm hearing I walk through McCrell. I'm still kind of just using the old SOPAS walkthrough. Not that that's a bad form or tool at all. But Karina, what are you guys using?
I don't have Wi-Fi, so I don't have anything except for myself.
A little piece of paper.
You just, okay, blank piece of paper, you just look, okay.
I just go around and check the objectives, and she came and we both looked around again. So we had 2 eyes.
The SOPAS look for, that's what you're talking about.
Right.
That may
Get you
be
that
helpful.
list, yeah.
Again, you use that with,
It's not a checklist, but it looks like one.
yeah.
There's also PD 360 that has a walkthrough component, and it's web-based, and
Is
it's
that
pretty
right?
cheap.
Is it?
Yeah, it's affordable, especially if you tell them how small your school district is. We used that at Stanford, and it was very, very good. And you can pick out,
60 is what it's.
yeah, it's PD 360. It's called something different now. It's called Luminous or something. But it's, if you Google that, it'll tell you.
I don't want to belabor this point, but I want to emphasize it, I guess, and I'm going to go back to what Terry's saying about Poplar and use of the data and using it in whatever settings, faculty meetings or PLCs. And it sounds like this is really something that you all are focusing on, but we have to really send the message to our certified staff that gone are the days that PIR just equates to seat time.
Right.
That we've generated what we're doing today based on a need. And that need happens to be the data. Maybe you're collecting from McCrell or, what have you. But I think every time we can repeat that message, because I can remember the years being in education and being in a classroom where we would go hear this great speaker in PIR day that had absolutely no connection to anything.
Right.
And, no longer are those days. While we might have motivational people or what have you, that's a different thing. But I guess just continue to connect those dots, because it sounds like we're all really trying to do and to focus on that. So.
What if you have, we kind of got a place now where maybe you could share other things that you're doing as far as data collection that you're finding really valuable or informing you about things. Is there anything anything that we haven't touched on? Suspension and back to that discipline and expulsion. What kinds of systems are you using for that?
Well, that we keep track of our referrals with,
Whatever.
Swiss. And we're giving Infinite Campus kind of up to snuff, but I still don't like the way that reports. I mean,
I don't like that either.
Yeah, it doesn't look,
We just put it in a big binder.
yeah, it looks more, the Infinite Campus looks more like a criminal record than.
Yeah, who was indicted with who and who was associated.
Well,
with
yeah, 'cause you got a link events with all the people involved.
And it goes on each one of their records, yeah.
Uh-huh.
I hated
But for
that.
suspension and expulsion, you have to do day keeping.
Yeah, and you can enter it in there, but,
You have to have legally, you have to have.
right.
But also,
I do believe that supposedly, when was it, later this fall or first part of next spring, they're supposed to be able to have Swiss and Infinite Campus linked together.
Yeah.
I don't know exactly what that's gonna look like, but I know it's a pain in the butt, being one of the only tech savvy people in my district, because I'm gonna be entering that on Infinite Campus and on Swiss, and it's just two entries that you have to do all the time, and Infinite Campus isn't very user-friendly in that respect.
Yeah, and I heard that too, they brought that up at our MBI meeting, that they're gonna interact.
Which would be really nice. I think right now, we're trying to transition into Swiss, and I'm trying to recruit some people that can.
As somebody who doesn't know, what's Swiss? Is that a state?
It's through MBI, it's just a way of tracking all behavior referrals.
School-wide information
So,
system.
Okay.
yeah.
Gotcha.
So, I mean, it's a double duty if you're gonna put stuff on Infinite Campus or whatever your attendance program is, and then put it on that, but it generates a little bit more user-friendly charts, graphs, so that you can single out specific kids, specific times of the day, specific areas of your school. So,
Yeah, it helps your MBI team kind of address those specific
Right.
issues.
Because you're preparing something for a safe
Yeah,
and
okay,
orderly
what's going on
environment,
here, what
right?
changes can we make, why is the lunch line having some problem? Top expectations.
Or what's happening on the playground, because we've had 15 incidents of rock throwing or whatever.
Right.
During that.
So, and board members are obviously going to be involved in the student's behavior leads to expulsion. But what about suspensions in your school? Are you doing both in-school and out-school suspensions, or what's happening disciplinary? Both?
Well, we're doing that.
One person and the other, or depending on the severity or repetition of behavior?
Yeah, honestly, we try to avoid out of school because I think kids just think of that as a vacation.
Yeah.
So it's not very, yeah. So we've gone to ISS, and then we also have, like, if they're in trouble, because again, you're trying to use activities as a way to, you know,
Keep them engaged?
they have to, yeah, so a lot of them have after school detention, so that means they miss like the first half hour of their practice. And then the coach knows about it, and then that usually kind of gets home because.
Anybody else? Both ISS and no?
We use both.
We use both.
We
And
have
the
both,
after-school detention thing too.
And I started adding alternatives to it, like giving them an option of doing something, like just cleaning around the school. And there's one kid in elementary that this has gone really well with. He redirects really quick after having a hands-on task. Like I just had him wipe down our one staircase in the school. Like, you have to wipe every step, and you can instead of doing half the ISS, but it redirects that one really well.
And we do that with our detention kids, actually. They have to pick trash or clean lockers or empty trash or clean windows or trophy cases or, you know.
I like that. Better than sit with your head on the desk or whatever.
Well, it depends on the kid. Depends on the kid. Some of those kids, hey, you want me to pick up trash? No. Okay. No. Yeah. No, we're gonna work on that. And so it depends on the kid. So you kind of have to sort of find what hits home with that kid.
Well, it comes back to the heart of the issue. You have to know the kids.
Yeah.
Right.
So.
So, anybody else? ISS, OSS, suspension, expulsion?
We do everything.
Do it all? Do what you have to do?
Well, we are moved into instead of going through the whole 9 yards before they get to 10 days OSS before we do something different, we're already looking at doing a school within a school for just those major behavior players. And it's
Like an
coming
alternative.
soon, like an alternative school within a school, and we'll have, we'll probably have one third grader, one second grader, a high school student, and one or two sixth graders.
In that setting.
And it'll be in that setting, and we don't have to wait till they have 10 days OSS to do we've already contacted parents, let them know if this continues. We're not gonna wait, we're not gonna make the rest of the students lose their education because they're lovelies. And so it's just a matter of our Gear Up grant put in to hire personnel for that, and we have the room. So it's just a matter of all the work will just be sent to that room, and that monitor will do it there.
If we get 2 applications, send one my way.
Kids that could use that.
We have one for our high school.
Started in
We want for
the school
our middle
elementary
school.
as well.
Middle school. So Corinne, enough.
You don't wanna mix.
Students that are,
Your major behavior players.
okay. I've got through those and we talked about, doing something like that, but we're not certain as to what avenue we should put it in. Like a self-contained.
Yeah, we're just putting it right in self-contained. And
So all those kids are in like the
They'll all
high
be
school or
together.
the second, they're all in the same?
Not yet, but
Oh,
they're.
will, yeah.
But your goal is to put those 5 or 6 kids that you just mentioned together with one teacher to supervise and teach.
Not,
Yikes.
I don't
I think
think
we
it'll be a
need to-
certified teacher, but it will be a monitor, more or less, and then the certified teachers will
Like what I
rotate.
want.
So I will let you know how that goes. But I do have the support of the board and the parents and superintendent.
Joe, I'm going to turn to you now with maybe some of those examples of things that you found.
Do you have a couple as well, or?
I have, and I'll pass this around, yeah, I have.
What I have here is just some graphic organizers that may be of interest to you when we talk about various types of data that we're keeping, whether it's classroom, school, whatever, district level data. These are all things that actually come out of the Academic Development Institute. And so choose or look at these and use as you choose. They may or may not be of value, something you might want to bring back to your leadership team, what have you. The last thing that I have is, this was actually put out by Success at the Core, and many of you are familiar with Success at the Core. This is a tool whereby if you are working more intentionally in the whole data focus, this is an actual module that can be used for staff development, can be used for board training, to better understand how do we use data effectively. Basically what Nancy and Nancy's guided us through this afternoon in this conversation, because we can have all kinds of data, but if we're not using it effectively. The best part of this Success at the Core piece, I'll just show you very quickly. A lot of times we might look at data, but we don't really ask ourselves what's causing the data picture to happen.
Let's wait till everybody gets here. Tell us what
Okay.
page you're on.
Let me see, what page am I on? 6. Yeah, is it 6? 6. It's in the Success at the Core, the last one I just handed out to you. But, and I guess I didn't really listen for this afternoon, but one of the dilemmas we face is if we see like a drastic decline in reading, sometimes we can identify what caused that. You know, based on demographics or whatever. We can put some idea of an attempted alignment to, well, we think we know what caused that. But what this does for us is it assists us in some of that problem solving of looking at other additional components of what might have caused a dive or a rise in a particular area. And then right next to it are what they consider to be possible solutions. If you saw this, you might consider this. If you saw this, you might consider that, and so on. So it's just some nice think abouts in there. But both the tools that we passed out to you, the graphic organizers and the Success at the Core documents, are all free things that you can access. It's web-based for whatever audience that you might think it might be helpful.
And where do they find them?
Success at the Core is just stc.org, but
Did you say it was on the InStar site?
the other ones, I'll share with you that piece. Success at the Core is just STC or successatthecore.org. That's the website.
.com it says on the bottom.
Oh, does it say .com? Oh, sure does. .com, thanks.
Uh-huh.
Okay, the other handouts that I passed out first, those graphic organizers,
That's just-
we have available to us, and it's available to anybody. Even if you're not using Industar, you can use these tools. On the homepage of Industar, there's a link, there's an area on Industar, it's called Resources. I'm just going to show you this really quickly. I'll kind of point to it and then I'll turn this way. But in the lower right-hand side, there's a place called Resources. And there's a link that's called Indicators in Action. And so what it takes is, it takes components of the school improvement process, and it helps us either by providing a workshop for us, complete with videos. It can be a professional development segment. It can give us graphic organizers like the ones that I've photographed off for you, or at least it could be a spin-off or additional conversation with your staff or whichever group you might be working with. So these are like one-stop shopping. They're video clips, they're professional development tools, they're graphic organizers. These are just on the Industar homepage. You don't have to log into anything, and you can find access in the resources link. So I'll turn it this way so you guys can see. This is the homepage of Industar. If you go to the lower right under resources, it just says Indicators in Action. You click on that and it'll give you all the resources you want and then some. Okay?
Great. Thank you. All right, I have a couple of handouts to finish us up with this that you can use, if they would help you, take a look at them. The one is called the Strength and Challenges Worksheet, and it's 4 pages. And there's some things here that are not up-to-date titles. For example, it might say I2BS and they're not using that. But some of them are things that have been around a long time. It's organized into 4 different areas. A check sheet list of achievement data that you might be using or want to think about using. Demographic data that you might want to use and analyze. We've talked about some demographic things today about kids who are having difficulty, or maybe teachers that are having attendance issues or things like that. Perception data, in other words, we didn't even talk about the data where you might do some surveys and things with your district. Go ahead.
Did those handouts get sent around?
I'm just talking about it. I'm not
Okay.
gonna- I could be passing them while I'm talking.
Oh, sorry, I apologize.
Okay, so, all right, thank you.
You want to make sure you get them?
Yeah.
Are you taking some for Dan too?
Yeah.
Good.
Okay, and so the perception data, there's some things that are listed there, and there may be other things that you're using. If any of you are familiar with Victoria Burkhart's work on building school profile and using data, there's some really good things in that old stuff too, so you might take a look at it. And the last page is on what is called contextual data, and that is, are you gathering data from your community? Are you looking at, we talked about some, the professional development, or your after-school programs? Are you analyzing those? Are you collecting any data on that? And the last thing I'm going to pass out to you, which you might be able to use, is an exercise in the use of data. It's a very short sort of a survey that you could use with your staff about how we're using data in our school and how people feel that it's being used and applied, whether they indeed own that issue of looking at all kinds of different data to evaluate what we're doing and how we're doing it well, or maybe need some work. So those might be useful tools for you to use.
Well, we're passing out, in the mode of
Passing out.
ending passing out. This is your expense report. I need you to just fill out the top with your name, address, email, phone, and those kinds of information right there. And then make sure you get it back to me so I can get it processed today. So,
Have you, let's collect some data right now. Have you felt this discussion and sharing valuable today? of interest to you, each person? Maybe you want to pick some people's brain a little bit more to help you out on some things? Okay, good. We intend to do this kind of thing and have it be interactive for our meetings rather than you listening to somebody talk at you all the time.
So since I'm the facilitator and I need to talk through my last break, I'm going to facilitate a break. And if you don't need a break, please spend the time talking to your coach because this is your face-to-face time with them as well. So if we can gather back together at 22?
Okay, I'll do the last section of the agenda, right?
Yes.
Thank you. Oh, you're quick.
I had filled out a copy.
All righty. Good, thanks, Nick.
So it's time to turn
I'm
off.
supposed to tell you my format again for
Oh,
kids.
Stevie, am I turning this off then?
No, yeah, just leave it on.
Oh, okay.
Because we have one more section.
Well, I can turn it off for the break.
And if you can turn it back on.
I can, I did it already.
Okay, good.